these two teams matched up. 74-26, Cafe was stepping into. I'm already excited about the possibilities that this game might have in store for us.
I woke up excited about this one, Des. It's all I've thought about since I saw the draw. We saw FURIA come back, as you say, in Mexico. 6 rounds on the bounce to get the win that day. It looked like it was over for them, but absolutely not. They were able to turn it around. Unbelievable performance from them on that day. Will they be able to replicate it here? SSG seem to have gone from strength to strength ever since then. Are FURIA going to have enough this time around? That is a big question. FURIA, there's this big discussion. Are they the one-man team? Is it all fantasy? I know otherwise, but I can see when you look at the numbers, you look at the stats, it is heavily stacked in his favour, but the rest of the team, they facilitate him, Des. They facilitate him to do that.
Absolutely. We spoke about this a bit yesterday as well, and that FURIA might be a team that feels 6 to 12 months behind where Team 1 were. Think about Team 1 prior to winning Mexico. Many were saying about them, you know, oh, it's the Alamo show, he's the Brazilian Pengu, he's the guy who's going to show up and drop tons of kills, and the rest of the team are there to kind of support him. He's in the picture.
SI, Mexico, Sweden, and they're qualifying quicker and quicker, Des. SI, open quals, they had to go through. Mexico, they only got into the quarterfinal of the Copa Elite 6, so they had to win that game to qualify. This time for Sweden, straight into the semis, auto qualification after the group stage. They are going better and better every time.
Well, our bands are flying through. A funky band coming out of SSG already in the Thatcher. No surprising at all. Hibana, one that we don't see. I don't want to say we don't see a lot on Cafe. We see it played, you know, semi-often, I'd wager, especially on the top floor. If you want to get the storage walls opened up, bathroom opened up securely from the windows, she is your go-to girl for that one. The next band coming out is going to be the Wamai, so we're not going to see as much Jaeger and Wamai play as you might be used to seeing, which means angles like Pixel are no longer going to be as secure to play. Grenades will fly through, ADSs will be burnt out, and you will be in hot water. Mira, the next one to come through from SSG. So 2 very default bands, and one that you might wager is a little bit more saucy coming out of the side of FURIA.
Leaves Valkyrie open.
It does indeed.
Leaves Valkyrie open, one that we see quite often banned away, especially on a map like Cafe, where there's plenty of external opportunity for those cameras. You got to remember, Cafe is a square. Camera on each corner, and you can see every single side of it.
Got to think outside the box, essentially, is what you're trying to say there, Ace. I'm looking forward to seeing where Skies gets those down, whether it's going to be indoors, outdoors, and maybe, I was going to say most interestingly, the Castle pick coming in as well, but it's changed away for the Mute and Mozzie. SSG, a team that love playing this drone denial game. We've seen it many, many times. You think back to their SSG roam on Clubhouse, and it rings true. We do start off downstairs rather than up in Bar and Cocktail, which is where we're very used to seeing most teams start when they play it in Europe. But on FURIA's side, at the very least, the presence of mind is there to bring along the IQ, along with some more standard operators you'd wager in things like the Finker Sledge and the Ace, and the Lion also being brought along.
We've seen some impact from Lion from the Brazilian teams already, Des. We saw Lion used pretty well by Team 1. I think it was KDS who was playing. Was it KDS or was it Neskin? One of the two who was playing on the Lion and really supported plants to go down and was able to lock down the post plant as well. So some very effective play so far. Keep an eye on Miracle. As I say, Fantasy, if you want to see kills, Fantasy is your man. The leading fragger in the entire world in Stage 3, Des, was that man right there. There was a map inside of the BR6 in Stage 3 where Fantasy actually got back-to-back aces in the rounds and then a 4K in the final round of the game. So inside 3 rounds, he got 14 kills. Absolutely unreal, but his team do a great job of facilitating it as well.
That's always the big question, as we mentioned, you know, is this a Team 1 growth story where you've got your leading man and the others back him up and over time improve themselves to the level that they can contest with any team around the globe? You'd wager you've already seen that a little bit at Mexico again in the game against SSG on Coastline, one that I will remember, because prior to that I hated Coastline. I've never made that a secret, not the biggest fan of Coastline. I have really started to enjoy it more and more since the rework, to be fair. We'll see how much work they can do. At least here in the first round, it's a very standard take coming out of the side of FURIA, looking for a full map clear. Not something we normally see on this site, or well, we don't normally see. I'd wager about half the time we see it. And looking at how things are set up, they want to make sure there's no one roaming from SSG. The Mute and the Mozzie is going to give them a couple of things to worry about, maybe the fear that they are out on their own and looking to cause trouble. So a full map clear is the sensible play. You've got Hot and Cold lurking his way up here, joined by Fultz inside a train. They really want to hold down Fireplace and deny those vertical angles coming out of FURIA.
Sky's on the Valkyrie, just spending plenty of time inside of those cams at the moment, trying to feed in as much information as he can. Highs works his way into reading, going to take out the mute jammer there, and that'll free up the drone that had been blocked up inside of it as well. So a little bit of information available once again for FURIA. Now Highs on the IQ, it's going to be his job to make sure that he's picking up on those black eye cams, and right now I don't know, he's not got two of them, so there could also be a third left somewhere as well. It's something that he definitely needs to make sure that he focuses on, because once they get up onto the top floor, Des, it's going to be, there you go, an absolute nightmare in terms of nitros. He went in there to get the black eye, but he had to go prone to do it. It restricted his movement and it sees him taking a death, but immediately traded out by that man Fantasy. 4 versus 4, 50 seconds left to go.
He's got good control of red here as well. It's a very key angle to hold if you want to try and get normally a bakery push in the go, but that's not the play here. C4 in Fultz's hand, steps out. C4 comes through, will do 0 damage onto Fantasy, who was already well on his way back upstairs by the time the explosion went off. 4 versus 4 and 30 seconds to play. FURIA, they have got to pick up the pace a little bit here and choose where they want this attack to come in from. Otherwise, SSG might just find themselves and the clock a little bit too much to deal with.
Lender just trying to pepper through that soft wall, but will not find his man, will not do any damage. Bosco starts to lock down the freezer door with the Toxic Babe canisters, steps in close onto the CQC angle with shotgun in hand, and as you say, SSG look like they've just got a little bit too much control here to make this happen. Bosco, he steps out, finds one, Fultz gets a second. Here comes Lender from behind, but too little, too late. Fultz is sat waiting, and that's going to be a successful SSG defense of Kitchen, and NA collectively breathe a sigh of relief.
The shotgun shut down towards the end of the round. Yeah, a couple of kills coming out from the last couple of members holding on to those. I believe it was Fultz and Bosco doing a lot of work as it came down to it. Bosco, as always, the boss goat, double kill on the shotgun. Gives a comfortable first round to SSG. FURIA taking a little bit too much time on the clear, and now going to have a chance to reduce the size of that clear. Fireplace and Mining going to be the next site, very commonly the 4th choice site for most teams. However, we've seen it dance in and out of popularity across various regions. What I like about it is you do get these really interesting castle strats where you might have, for example, the wall that leads out of Wheel and up towards Red Stairs slightly opened up. You'll have a couple of barricades put down, one looking out towards Red Corridor, one on Fireplace Door, sometimes even one in this little central doorway between the two sites themselves. There's just lots of options that you can play behind, essentially, so I'm keen to see where Bosco goes with this setup.
As you say, I think Castle's a big factor here. We've certainly seen an increase in popularity for the site since he's gained that 4th barricade. It's certainly seemed to have made teams a little bit more confident to take on Train and Mining. So there's going to be a top floor presence, as we would expect for any mid-floor site here on Cafe. They will want to protect themselves from the vertical angles that Lender could get in there and open up with the sledge. Now, interestingly, without the Valkyrie ban, Highs on IQ again, we're likely to see that throughout the game. It's sort of it's a necessary evil, essentially. It locks out one of your spots.
They are basically defending top floor. This looks like a bar cocktail setup. They've got themselves with castle barricades down inside of storage, one looking on towards the south window in White Corridor, one on the actual White Stairs window itself, and only one on the side below. They've then padded that out with a number of laser gates to catch throwables up on the top floor. It's a very skinny setup, dare I say, on the second floor itself, and everything is on the top floor, which is why you have 2, 3, potentially 4 members on the side of SSG defending this top floor. For FURIA, it's going to be about getting through this Fort Knox setup that SSG have rolled out on the top floor before you can even think about the site. Or they could take initiative and try and say, you know what, no, let's strong arm our way through, push up Red Stairs. There are options, all carrying different risks, but I imagine you'll see a much more standard go-to take of the top floor first, knowing that FURIA wanted to do a full map clear back in round 1.
Absolutely. Highs is going to get on the drones. He moves in towards that top floor, and I think this is going to be the point where FURIA start realising just how much resistance there is on that top floor. Now Lender, he's there ready, opens the white window that was castle barricaded off. He's going to dip himself back away, doesn't want to be getting himself caught out with any explosives that might come flying out of that window in his direction, but there isn't anybody there to do that at the moment. Gets himself up onto the air conditioning unit though, and he's just going to watch a long angle on towards that pixel spot, and the E1D scan comes out from Miracle, but doesn't really support too much of a push from FURIA.
Now at least they know, because the patience has worn out. The ADSs have been destroyed, and Miracle has found the opening kill. Fault's taken away on the Aruni. A second follows up shortly after. Hot and Cold, though, with a little swing with that Vector. Fastest defensive primary in the game, by the way. Remember that one from our little quiz that we had with Doki and Nace from Na'Vi. And now stepping their way forwards once again for a 4 versus 3. Burning their way through these laser gates. Hot and Cold in hot water. Having to step himself away back down towards the white stairs to look for a drop back down. But Lender, he's the one just lurking and waiting. He has been so patient. Sat here now for about 90 seconds or so, waiting for someone to step into his line of sight. No one on the side of SSG yet doing just that.
4 versus 3 and FURIA need to start thinking about sight here. They've got Diffuser in the hands of Rare, but he's still up on the top floor, ticking towards 40 seconds, so plenty of time yet. That's a nice kill from Highs, just catching Rampy as he tries to drop himself down the hatch, and that gives us now 4 versus 2. It's all up to Hot and Cold and Bosco to try and lock this one down, but it's not going to be easy as the pressure starts to mount from FURIA. Out goes the Nitro, will not do any damage. So FURIA, they've got top floor control. One thing that they don't have, Des, is time. 20 seconds left to go. They need to find their way into sight and into a position to start getting this diffuser down. Highs, he's starting to push down the white stairs. He's just trying to support this push that's going to come in through that dining room wall, but it's going to be a big rush here. Hot and Cold, he gets one. Bosco gets one. Surely SSG turning around. They do. What a defensive round from Spacestation Gaming.
Hot and Cold, more like hot and gold in that round. 3 massive kills, moving throughout the map, not needing to stay stationary to do so much work for the boys to hand them their second round in a row, because it looks so good for FURIA. In a 4 versus 2, they've done all they needed to make sure that one was shut out. Great resilience being shown by the SSG side. It's 2 rounds on the board, but you can see FURIA starting to warm into this one.
2 versus 4, Des, you can't throw those away. You cannot allow SSG to overcome those odds, and FURIA, you're not going to get. I don't want to be harsh on them, Des, but you're up against Spacestation Gaming. You're up against one of the best sides in the world right now. You gotta take those opportunities when they're there, because those rounds will not keep coming along. If you've got a 4v2, you gotta lock it down, and time was the problem for them there. We saw them on the white stairs. The reason that they died was because they had to rush. They got that wall opened up. Hot and Cold was smart, didn't worry about trying to clear the Selma off, didn't worry about anything else. He knows they've got to rush in through that wall. They've got 8 seconds left to go. I'm just going to wait here, and as soon as they push, I'll take them down. It's exactly what he does, and FURIA, they just didn't have the time to be able to check those angles.
One of our medics is highlighting this setup, and he's heard me talk about this 10,000 times during EUL and APAC North. A really interesting setup in my mind, where commonly, and I assume we're going to see Bosco bring out these castle barricades in towards Piano, but essentially what you do is stack up laser gates, castle barricades onto windows, doorways, everything, and it forces the attackers to have to burn through so much utility to get the job done. That one last castle barricade in his back pocket should likely go onto the double doorway that leads into Piano from Cigar Shop, and that will just really stack things up, because then you've got one on the window towards the south plus a laser gate. You've got a laser gate and the castle barricade. There it is, thank you very much. It's essentially 4 layers of anti-nade utility that you've now stacked up to protect Skies, who's equally got a mute jammer, got ADSs to prevent any grenades coming in from red. It's a really aggressive extended hold that when teams can pull it off well, they can waste so much time, and the attackers have got to be so disciplined to break it apart. If you think back to our games casting in APAC North, so many teams struggled to break this one wide open.
They did, as you say, and we'll see if FURIA have maybe got any ideas about just exactly how to achieve that. For the time being, Skies is going to keep himself inside a Cigar Shop. He's in, he's out, he cannot quite decide, but he's got the line of sight that he needs with that shotgun should they start trying to pressure from Red Hatch. Highs is going to move in that direction, starts to burn out the ADSs before I would expect a nade to go in. There we go, clears out a lot of utility there, so that limits Skies a little bit more. Can't get quite as aggressive because he doesn't want to find himself with a nade at his feet, so he'll probably just try and keep a little bit of distance here, keep himself back towards that double door, and just try and hold off until they push in so that he can put that shotgun to work.
Look at it this way, they've wasted 90 seconds, they've killed 7 drones before FURIA have even set a foot inside of the building. That is why this setup can be so valuable, and now they're starting to chew their way through the Roteros. They've managed to get rid of the castle barricade on the south window, but they have no way at range of clearing away the castle barricade and the laser gate with the utility they've got on side. They've gone through most of their frag grenades. They've got a couple of flashes still to play with, but this is where things like Zofia are so impactful. And with her slightly out the meta right now, this strat is stronger than ever. SSG playing it beautifully, Furia looking a bit lost.
50 seconds left to go and they find something. Des Miracle with a kill onto Skies. That is going to be the cigar shop opened up now then. Rampy, he's well aware that he's being pushed here on White Stairs, absolutely guaranteed. Fancy can't push forward because of the barbed wire. It will signal his arrival. He does exactly that and Rampy steps up. Easiest kill of his life onto Fantasy to level things up 4 versus 4. Hot and Cold just trying to battle his way out of the washroom. Does exactly that. Manages to escape his way over to Cocktail to continue fighting into the round. And once again, time is going to become the issue for Furia here. Rare trying to move quickly, trying to work efficiently, getting in and opening up those walls and lines of sight with the Selvas, but the kills keep raining in for Spacestation Gaming as Fultz. He finds highs, but Rare steps up, gets one onto Bosco. It's going back and forward, Des. There's only 5 seconds left to go. Furia, they're not in a position to get the diffuser down, surely. There, Rare, he manages to start the process. That's an important kill from Miracle on the cover. It's 1v1. Rare, he manages to get it down. It's all up to Rampy. He needs to turn this around for Spacestation. Can he do it? Rare, he's just locked in place here on the diffuser. He manages to move across. He goes for the challenge. Rampy's lost track of him, Des. He doesn't know where he is. He's got himself out to white. He's circling around. But Rampy, I think he's got him pinged. He knows. Oh, Rare! Somehow, Rare manages to swing the door, find the kill. And what a round for Furia. It was down to the very last second, the last grain of sand, Des.
What a round for Rare especially! Pushing his way in, getting the wall open up from Piano, stepping forward into Bar, finding himself 1 or 2 kills, getting the plant down, and then winning the post-plant 1v1. What a round to get Furia on the board just when you thought SSG...
My biggest strength when I look at the Furia team is their mental game. They're never beaten. Within a round, within a game, within a tournament, Furia just do not know when they are beaten. They will keep fighting to the very last second. And SSG, I think, after that round will realise we've got a game on our hands here. They'll know that. They played them in Mexico. They'll know that it's not over until it's done. But Furia just reminding them of that.
A very, very stark reminder, yeah. This is a game that can really come down to the wire if you let the rounds run that close. They need to be more decisive earlier on. Even though it looked like in that previous round, SSG had done all they possibly could to run the clock as low as they can. Now, we are getting some changes coming in. The Ace is no longer part of the lineup. Instead, we're seeing the Maverick coming along, which means more nades. 6 on side for the team. We've got High stepping in, playing on the Ash as well. So a couple of amends coming in. Nothing massive or groundbreaking, but enough that it might start to trip SSG up if they don't expect these changes coming in. Let's see how round 4 plays out then. Otherwise, for the side of SSG, things are looking pretty cut and dry, standard staple to what we're used to seeing. The Valkyrie, a real staple, no doubt, for both teams on the defense in this half, or in this map, sorry. Kaid, well, why not in this instance bring it along? I guess he wouldn't want to, knowing there's a Maverick on the other side, but hey, you got to deal with it.
Fancy moving in quickly behind that E1D scan, just trying to facilitate him. As I say, this team quite often working around Fantasy, and how can we get him in there? How can he find those kills? And the E1D scan of the Lion doing exactly that. Now then, he's going to get spotted out. Hot and Cold just on the cam as well. We'll see him. So that is all the information that Space Station should need here, Des, to be able to close the thinker down and get him killed.
That's no idea the cam's there either as well. Going to be in hot water if he doesn't find himself removing that one anytime soon. Of course, no IQ on side. We saw Furia bring it back in round 1, but has not been a part of their lineup since back then. These electrified walls is where you're looking for Rare to get into and really start doing work. Greatly placed cams worth mentioning as well. Still hasn't been found out by the side of Furia.
Got 2 men inside of mining. Hot and Cold underneath.
C4's out.
C4's already out there.
I think out but not deployed.
That's it. I think it's maybe not been detonated yet, but we will see as time goes on. He certainly missed his opportunity, but the Valk cam remains in place for the time being. Furia not really completely established as of yet. They've got kills that they need to find. That's going to help them to begin with, taking out that black eye camera, getting themselves some top floor control. I think they're fairly comfortable up there now. We can see SSG just being forced back down White Stairs, but as I say that, one man moves back up to the top floor. I'm not sure if it was Hot and Cold or not. I only got a very brief glimpse. It was indeed hot and cold. Up onto Lumber, and you've got one plane on top of Hatch still. So there's a lot of work for FURIA to be done here, still to clear out that top floor, and time is going to become another factor. 1 minute 10 left to go.
Doesn't it always become a factor for FURIA, it feels like? Again, it's a map that does require quite a lot of clearance work to be done. Rampy dropping away as there's a kill that gets traded out. Hot and cold with the opener onto Fantasy, traded out by Lender immediately after. So good play by both teams. SSG for getting something from it, but the side of FURIA for getting a trade coming in. Now Miracle slaughtering his way through SSG. No one with an answer. They haven't even got control of site here. So for the side of FURIA, a great opportunity to look to get a plant down. High swinging in on one. Bosco can't find anything, and Fultz is stuck off in Narnia somewhere as the plant's going down from Rare. Fultz doing a bit of a marathon to try and find his way back up, but this one looks pretty wrapped up and done, to be honest with you, Ace.
Miracle well aware of his position there. The thing is, once you are confident that you've got control of a floor, so in this case, mid-floor, FURIA happy that they've got control of everything from there up, it's pretty easy to deal with roamers in that situation on Cafe. Because if you're on the mid-floor, you've got 3 staircases. Those are the only ways back up. If you've got the manpower, which FURIA did, you just get one with an angle onto white stairs, one onto red, one onto half stairs. There's no way back up. That's exactly what they did there. Miracle picks himself up a nice cheap kill. It gets even easier if you're doing that up on to the top floor, because half stairs, guess where they go, Des? Halfway up. They don't make it all the way to the top floor, and that's why we call them half stairs. So all you've got to do then is watch top red, top white, and that is it. You can't have roamers moving back into you then. So well closed out by FURIA, 2-2, and we've got a game on here.
Oh, don't we just? They just seem to be following us today, Ace. Every game
today?
Except maybe the
just today.
All right, every game we catch just seems to be this kind of game. It just stays close and entertaining the whole way throughout, 2 apiece. Could not separate the 2 teams. It's the only way I can really describe it so far. Let's see how this kitchen defense shapes up. It's where we started the map, if you remember. SSG walking away the victor back in that round. Here, a tripling down on the intel game coming out from SSG. You've got the Maestro, you've got the Echo, you've got the Valkyrie. It's almost a good thing that this is the round FURIA opted to return with the IQ.
Certainly is. They're going to need it to clear out those electronic gadgets, as you said. It's almost as if they knew that was going to be the case. Now then, we're going to have the Maestro brought along from Fultz this time. A couple of those evil eyes deployed, one inside of the bakery, just on top of the counter there. Just going to provide information. You'll usually have somebody playing in behind the counter, so you can just have direct information being fed in. Should be reasonably easily dealt with, but there is the ADSs from Rampy as well that could help to protect that evil eye camera from any explosives coming in towards it. I'm looking particularly at Fantasy, but we did ask a question coming into this, Des, about FURIA and how much do they rely on Fantasy. Only 1 kill so far, and yet FURIA a level pegging with Spacestation game.
Well, Miracle living up to his namesake, yeah, 6 kills so far across the 4 rounds. It's not like it's a massive, like, oh my god, he's at 8 or 9 kills, but he's doing work, which is exactly what you want. 2 of those coming in the prior round, with an excellent drop inside of reading that really started getting the round rolling in FURIA's favour. For FURIA, in this round at least, though, it's going to be another full map clear. They did slowly start to run out of time, and there was the kind of mad, crazy last 15-second drop into Freezer, into the waiting arms of Bosco and Fultz, who between them, 2 shotguns, 4 kills. It tells you all that you need to know about how round number 1 played out.
Certainly those highs is out there, just looking for those gadgets. Not going to find any nearby, at least, that he can have any impact on for the time being. Drones raining out ahead of him as well. You can see now the IQ scanner having that recent upgrade that just allows it to ping out those gadgets through the hard surfaces. So it just allows IQ to be a bit more directly effective, because quite often previously she could spot the gadget but do absolutely nothing about it. At least this way she can signal to her teammates who may well be in a position to take the shot and take the gadget out. So 2 versus 2 coming in towards the final minute, Des, and still not an opening kill yet.
Slow and steady, no real need to charge your way forward. We've already seen what FURIA can do in some dying moments, but still a lot of committal coming in inside of Bakery. The smoke's now being deployed to deter FURIA for at least a little longer. I think in the hope that they'll just get bored and go, well, we'll go away now. We'll go and find another angle to push, because clearly when they keep on getting denied here, there is a very heavy setup, but that doesn't look to be FURIA's plan. They've committed utility now to getting open that reinforced wall to cut off the rotate back to site for the smoke. It's going to be Fultz. It's going to be Bosco holding down inside a bakery. Do or die.
That's it. They're going to play their life here now. There's no real way out for them after that has been opened up. Fultz with a big double from behind the counter, and there's a third Des. He's taking orders. He's taking names. He's taking lives, and we find ourselves now 5 versus 2. Miracle misses his opportunity not once but twice, as I think it was Skies just manages to dip in front. It might have been hot and cold actually on the Valkyrie, but either way they escape with their lives. Furia, time ticking away. Surely this is not a round that's going to go in their favour. Fultz on the quad. Fultz with the ace to close out round number 5, and the successful defence of Kitchen as Spacestation Gaming, they just managed to get something cooking again.
Oh my word. It's the kind of round you want out of Fultz. I believe it was Rampy when we cast them back in the first game of SI 2020. Now it's Fultz's turn to get his ace on the board. 3 more members for us to go to cast at some point to walk away with that kind of delivery. But we said it was do or die for Bosco and Fultz holding down inside a bakery. And my God,
it was do.
It was
do.
Bloody do is the only way it can be described. Bar cocktail we head into for SSG's final defense of the half. I can't imagine we're going to see a same setup again, given Skies is going away from the castle. You won't see that heavy commit out towards the west side. The Valkyrie just a little bit too popular, but maybe you'll see those laser gates committed out towards Cigar Shop to burn through a bit of time. Hey, I haven't mentioned that today yet, actually.
Thought I got away with it earlier.
Oh, no, you can't get away with it.
You've said it far more often than I have today.
I've said it for us both, but not in the way that you'd say it.
We'll see how the round progresses.
Stop worrying about grenades now.
We'll see how impactful they are, as we go on. We're going to have a pretty similar setup by the looks of it. We've got utility going in and around that pixel spot. We've got hot and cold likely to be deploying one of those Vulcan shields inside of our back storage. They've got the wall opened up, so that will allow somebody to play from in behind there. Vulcan shield at pixel spot as well. So yep, all pretty standard. Shield inside of washroom instead of bar back storage. Fair enough, it's different teams do it different ways. Hot and cold actually played inside of washroom last time, so that makes perfect sense.
Absolutely does, but it is indeed going to be that change away from what we were used to. Seeing those laser gates being committed out towards heavy castle setup in towards Cigar Shop, but there is still at least a couple pointing out that way. The Furia here, I think a 3-3 split is what you're ideally looking for on a map like Cafe. It's one of the more balanced maps to kind of sit in the middle of the win rates for either side at this point, and although that of course varies massively based on the 2 teams that are playing, again, we've already seen these 2 teams, last time they played, go to 8-7 on Coastline. It was back and forth. It was beautiful. It was bloody from start to finish. And this one, you never know if it goes exactly the same way, but if it hits that 3-3 mark, suddenly I'm thinking, nah, I fancy an overtime. I fancy 15 rounds. Give it to me.
I think we're going to see, I think SSG are going to be happy with 3-0 on the half if that's how it goes. I think they'll be confident of coming in and getting the win in the second half, but you've always got to be careful with confidence against Furia, because when you overstep that mark a little bit, that is when they will punish you. Now then, we're still in round 6, so let's not get ahead of ourselves. Rare's going to be opening up that piano wall from Red Hatch, so not bad progress here from Furia. For a top floor attack, they're going to want to get control over piano. They want to force anybody out of washroom, move Skies out of pixel spot, all things that need to happen before they can start thinking about aggressing towards a final execute.
I'm just like baying for him to throw that C4. Oh, never mind, it's on the roof. I was hoping Hot and Cold might
almost
get
like when you're waiting for a sneeze, that, isn't it? And
it is, and like you're doing all the things, like you're staring at bright lights, like I've been told that works, and then it's like you go to sneeze and it goes away just before you hit that sneeze, and it's the most infuriating thing in the world. Hot and Cold, though, none the wiser. He won't be too bothered about the fact that he's still got a C4 in his back pocket. Fultz the one currently holding on towards the skyline, daring anyone on the side of Furia to reveal their mugs and look down towards him, and I'm sure he'll be the first one ready to try and take him out. Finding himself a couple of cams along the way, and again, down to only 4 drones here. Furia have had their drone counts whittled away in the vast majority of these rounds relatively early on.
Pretty good progress from Furia as Fancy manages to get the opening kill onto Fultz. Rampy with one himself at almost the exact same moment. Fancy looks to push forward, he gets hot and cold, he's going to move round. This is a problem for Spacestation Gaming, getting a man in behind them. He's looking for one in Freezer, he knows he's there, he guns him down. Skies manages to find a nitro onto Miracle, but Rare, he's getting the diffuser down. Could this be the back-to-back ace for Fantasy?
Oh, no
yes.
way!
Fultz gets one, and Fantasy says, anything you can do, I can at least match. Comes in with his own ace, and that is game on from FURIA.
What an absolute gunner this guy is. You're seeing it coming out there in spades. The confidence as well. Look at it. Finds one kill. Does he pull back? Does he pause and reload? No. He keeps on pushing. He works his way through into storage. He comes back out and goes down white. He keeps on pushing. The man does not sit still and quite literally marches through SSG. 3-3 at the half. Now finally starting to find his way at the leaderboard onto 6 kills. This game's anyone's.
That just goes to show
anyone's.
that Fantasy is never out of the game. He's just hit an ace, and he's still only joint top of the leaderboard on kills, because he only had 1 kill up to that point. He's had 1 kill in 5 rounds, and then out of nowhere comes and just absolutely decimates the entire Spacestation team, and it was almost as like a direct answer to Fultz. It was like, right, you're going to get an ace. We're not going to be bullied by that. We're coming out here strong, and we're just going to answer right back. And what a message FURIA have just sent. 3-all on the half. Oh, I'm looking forward to this second half.
Oh,
on the defense.
Me too. And the lineups aren't all that different on the defensive side especially. They're practically identical. But on the other side for SSG, couple of changes coming in. You've got the Zofia on side. You've got the Nomad on side. I'm keen to see if Rampy's brought along the hard breach gadget. I imagine not, because they've got the Thermite and the Maverick on side. You don't need that much hard breach for this map, really. You normally look towards range. You think about things like the Ace to help you out with that. Who knows? We'll see in a moment once the round gets underway. It is indeed flashes. The same coming in for several other members, actually. So nope, no hard breach gadget coming in, but a lot to burn through potential ADSs. But look at it on the other side. Not a single ADS in sight, and with the Wamai band away, the grenades that they do have, only 2 of them will be ringing true alongside those impacts coming out of Zofia.
SSG wasting absolutely no time getting themselves up to the rooftop then. As you say, going to be top-down clear. And it's going to have to be. They're attacking onto mining, and FURIA are set up in cocktail at least. So they're going to have to move across and try and find those kills before they can start thinking about moving down towards site. Out come the drones. FURIA, they need to do as good a job as Spacestation did. You picked up on it a couple of times, Job, at Des, and it was a good job that SSG...
Hi, my name's Job.
Hi.
How's it going?
It was a good thing that SSG did. It was a good job that they carried out, managing to clear out those drones and really denying FURIA too much intel. And I think FURIA are going to need to be doing the same thing. Right now, still 9 on side for SSG.
Absolutely. Okie dokie. Let's see then how things move forward. 60 seconds in, that first third of the round has elapsed. For SSG, it's top control of red that they're looking for here. Of course, looking to push on to the downstairs. It's not all about this top floor, but once it is cleared out, that's when the assault can begin. There is the Mozzie hanging around here, on towards Pixel. Not quite challenging it directly, but is giving the side of SSG something to think about. And quite carefully steps himself away back down towards white. You can see where a couple of those Valk cams were scattered around the top floor. FURIA fully in the know as to what SSG are up to, what their movements are at this stage, and they can just wait and play patiently.
As you said, I mean, no IQ on the side of SSG. It was something that FURIA brought along quite a lot, and that may well just allow FURIA to really take advantage of the Valkyrie and those black eye cams as the round continues. Now Fultz going to open the window, straight out he goes, looking just to rotate and maybe push in from an alternative angle, the potential for leading door maybe. Just going to miss the throw there, Fantasy, unfortunately. He's not going to be backing up that previous round ace with an explosive kill at least. Drops himself down to kitchen and looks to rotate underneath, but with only 45 seconds left to go and 5 men still alive, not looking terrible for FURIA at the moment.
I think both sides are getting the work done they need to. FURIA have contested and constantly pulled their way back carefully. SSG are in a spot where they've got the vertical control they need. They've done a lot of the clearance work they need to do and can now start thinking about their execute. You've got a couple of members of FURIA holding off towards site. Lender potentially able to play massive spoiler if he can get his way working at white. But you can see SSG, they know that someone's down there. It's Fultz holding off on the flank. Bosco flashing himself out, unfortunately. But here comes a flank. You can't cover them all. Fantasy finding out Bosco. 15 seconds. Rare with yet another. A 5 versus 3 steps in. Final 10 seconds. Rare. It's not Rare that he finds a kill. He's putting him up for fun at this point. Fantasy with a 3K off the back of his ace. And my God, FURIA have awoken.
8 kills in 2 rounds for Fantasy, and Spacestation Gaming, particularly in that round, falling foul of not keeping tabs on him. He was able to start his 3K with a cheap kill into the back of Bosco. Absolutely no idea that he dropped down into kitchen and was pushing back up from that bottom floor. It just felt for me, Des, a little bit chaotic on the side of Space Station. It was a little bit of a late push. It was actually very similar to what happened to FURIA, if you remember, when they were attacking onto that side. It was down to the last 15 seconds. Let's try and get dining wall open. And the kills just rained in as they tried to rush towards site.
It's crazy. Absolutely crazy for FURIA to get that now. You're going to start feeling nervous if you're an NA side. We joked on the other stream and said they've had 3 games so far where they've been beaten 7-0, 7-1, 7-2. What's the next score in order there, Ace?
I mean, it's 7-3, Des.
It is, Ace.
As a pattern.
I'm really glad that you can count because you're absolutely correct. 7-3. How many rounds of SSG currently got, Ace?
I mean, they've got 3, Des.
Oh, really? Oh, see, that's really weird, isn't it? It's kind of strange. It's almost like the two things will correlate really well together here if FURIA can carry on the defensive side. You start to feel a bit nervous. Let's hope not, because SSG, again, are the team that everyone pointed to from NA and said they're the ones that carry the hope of a nation on their side and should be that team. However, FURIA will have something to say. We are once again on the downstairs here as things set up on the top floor. You've got all the usual suspects coming in. You've got the laser gates, you've got the Goyo shields. This time we actually have ADSs on side, no Mozzie, but you're looking in towards things like the mute jammers, the smokes to be able to burn down the clock, and of course the night drone work coming in for the side of SSG. So pace is going to be of the essence. They need this top floor control before they can think about playing onto the downstairs.
Certainly do. They're going to be heading up to the top floor to begin. Air jabs go out to prevent any jump out of the window. It's going to allow them to play safely on the repels for the time being at least. We've got the Nomad there of Bosco just heading onto the top floor. They're going to have to contend with Fantasy, who is up there in the washroom. So that's actually quite a high line being held by FURIA. Usually these top floor defences, when it's not a top floor site, we will see them a little bit deeper. We'll see them more over Cocktail White Stairs area, but getting right up in their faces.
Okie dokie, here we go. The angle's starting to be held here as we hit once again that third part of the round mark. Only one drone currently removed away by FURIA, so good preservation coming out from SSG as they start to get the control they so sorely need. But you can see the line from FURIA looking at the outlines that you can see across the map. They're all digging out towards the east side. They don't care that SSG have got themselves red stairs. They don't care that they've got Cigar and Piano. Their focus is much different. Instead, it's looking out towards the east side, towards White Stairs, towards Cocktail, which is where if SSG feel creative, and it looks like they're going for it, they could ignore trying to take that side of the map and instead just push their way in towards mining, get control of train, and look to go for a fireplace plant rather than reading, which is where most teams tend to go.
Rampy managing to find Rare as he tries to drop himself back down the hatch, but leaves it a fraction of a second too late and gets his head removed as he goes. That's going to leave us 5 versus 4 and a good opener for Space Station Gaming. They just need to get themselves the first attack and you feel like it'll start rolling from there. It'll just build that bit of momentum for them, but another kill here would be extremely helpful. They've got themselves access now from the train side into dining room, but Sky's just taking
how many
damage now.
Rush!
Flash after another raining in there and one kill after another raining in. Doesn't really matter at this point. The diffuser's going down highs. He is the last alive in a 1 versus 4, effectively 1 versus 3 with Fultz down but not out. Very unlikely that FURIA bring this round back.
Absolutely not, no. They wouldn't have too many worries about this in the 1 versus 4. Great attack out of SSG. The spam of the flashes coming into sight. Anyone present was not going to last, and even those that came onto the site after the flashes came through, they were the ghost sign that an execute was happening, and even when they step in, they're still traded out by the 3-man rush that came in from SSG. That was very reminiscent to me of the attacks we saw by SSG against Dark Zero and Oregon partway through the stage, where they saw players were off-site or weren't present. They just dumped utility in and rushed their way onto site and often got a plant off along the way in here. Although it wasn't directly a plant they were pushing for, they found themselves in a 4 versus 1 and it's a very comfortable closeout. And I had in my notes that teams need to watch out for SSG's propensity to do that kind of aggressive push. They've just shown they can catch you with your pants down if you're not careful, and they'll take rounds for free.
They certainly will do. Absolutely no messing about from Space Station Gaming. I mean, I was just in the little interlude between rounds there. I was just looking at it thinking, this is really becoming one of the key matchups at any tournament. You know, you get Spacestation Gaming and FURIA going head-to-head, and it's really becoming a bit of a classic between these two. We've seen it time and time again now, and I mean, Twister made an interesting point. I was talking to him just before we travelled out to Sweden, and he said, you know, yeah, we're in a tough group. We know that. There's Spacestation Gaming in there, there's Damwon Kia, there's Empire. It's, you know, yeah, a lot of people have labelled it the group of death. But he makes a very good point in that they've already played Spacestation Gaming. They've already played Empire. They've already got these experiences now. They know what to expect from these teams. They know what it's like playing against Hot and Cold. They know what it's like playing against Joystick. And they're not going to be scared by it. They're coming in prepared and they're ready, and they're certainly showing us that.
What I think I love about it most is it's now becoming a matchup that every time I see it on any kind of rotation in future, I'm chucking our names down to cast it. It's one of those ones that, even though this one's only halfway through, I'm looking at and just thinking, I want to cast a whole series of this. I wish there was a way we could have them in the knockout stages against each other.
Can we have a best of 7 of SSG and FURIA?
I'll take on every single map very, very happily, I assure you of that. Heaven knows, maybe if the stars align, we'll find them coming to heads in the semis or in the grand final.
It's just always pure entertainment.
I mean, the thing is, everyone's talking about SSG being in the final already. They're one of those teams, maybe against BDS, is on everyone's kind of scorecards right now. I'd just love FURIA to get up there as well. Why not?
This is it. I've been saying it for the longest time. I was saying it when they were losing.
When isn't there a LATAM team you're saying that about?
No, but with FURIA, Rare coming in with an opening kill onto Fultz there.
That's a transition and a half.
They're going to stop me in my tracks with the kill. Don't manage to stop Rare in his tracks with the nade. Do take a lot of damage there, but not able to put the man down, so he will continue living to fight. But no, the point is, Des, when we're talking back end of 2020, FURIA were losing every game. That's how they got themselves into that relegation position. It wasn't an easy time for them, and I kept saying as I was casting it week after week, this team have got wins in them.
You do say
and it was before Fantasy joined. Fantasy came through their academy side of things. FURIA have got an academy team as well. Great setup. They're doing all the right things, and they've just shown that time and time again that they do have wins in them, and they've got more and more wins in them. And I just can't help but feel, Des, that they might actually have a tournament win in them at some point.
You never know. I mean, Team 1 have already showed that it is perfectly possible. For now, it's about getting through the opponent in front of them, and Lender's going straight through Rampy's head. Traded out by Hot and Cold up towards the north side. They have broken the VIP hole, which is the sort of space that you're looking for here. It does scream that an east side take is going to be the play. Skies is in, getting the hatch opened up inside of Fireplace. So you're going to see a drop coming in. We've already seen SSG on the defensive side deal with this kind of push very well. Let's see what FURIA can do.
Still can't find the kills that they need. 4 versus 3, 45 seconds left to go. Pings coming out, but still no joy. Yokai drones left could be very important. Certainly utility to watch. Fantasy shut down by Bosco to level things out 3-3. Let's not forget that Rare is low health, but so is Bosco. This is all going to come down to these 30 seconds there. Hot and Cold finds Rare. That takes out the weak one, but Highs, he manages to find Skies, and that's going to leave us now 2 versus 2. 20 seconds left to go. Bosco, he's trying to push himself in through that little bakery prep section. He's got the ping on the man, but the movement just in time. Bosco, does he know where he's gone? Yes, Hot and Cold finds him first though. 1 versus 2. Miracle. It's all up to Miracle. Diffuser is in hand of Hot and Cold. He needs to try and put this down, Des. He's gonna do it. How then?
Surely you can see the head. You can see the head. Surely you can see the head.
He knows Miracle finds the angle.
What? Oh my God! Damn, SSG!
FURIA find a way. FURIA find a way. It's what they do, Des. Miracle 1v2. Diffuser going down. Gets up on the table to find the angle. They find a way. Look at how long was left. Less than a second for that diffuser to be confirmed.
I love Siege.
Honestly, I'm known for getting quite excited, Des. But I say this every time. To me, it's just... if I wasn't casting this game, I'd be sat watching it screaming exactly the same.
Oh.
You cannot beat that. So excited.
All right. Okay, I've just about recovered. I think I'm back in the zone.
Back in the game. He's back in. He's back in.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
5-4, Des. It's 5-4.
We're halfway through day 1. please. My voice ain't going to hold out. I'm not sure my mental will either. Let's just keep it going and see what else these last few rounds have got coming in for us. Round 10, top floor, FURIA in the lead. Once more, it's one of those ones that you just can't call. You can look at a lineup all you like. You can look at the prior round. It just doesn't give you any information about how the next one is going to play out. It's very rarely felt like any two are identical. For FURIA, at least, it's going to be a dig-in inside of storage. No super aggressive hold inside a cigar shop. They've got a couple of players on the downstairs hoping to play behind C4s. They whiffed him a little bit the last time they were looking to play from below. Here, at least, you're hoping for a different outcome.
Fultz is going to open up that white window to apply a little bit of pressure, get himself inside a garage as well. Lender just looking for the angle there. He's not going to find anybody because Fultz has dipped away for the time being. He does have Nitro in hand. I suppose he could be tempted to launch it out over the balcony, but it'd be a bit of a waste because Fultz has got himself inside of sight now. And not a sight, he's inside the map, sorry. He's got himself down to the bottom of the white stairs. Lender, though, he's just preempting that potential push coming in, and he's going to have a little look down there. Does he see the drone on the inside? I think he did take it down. 7 drones left, and Fantasy finding an opening kill onto Rampe. FURIA, Des. They've got the opener. They're 5 versus 4. They could be heading towards a potential match point.
I tell you, mate, he's living in a fantasy of his own. It's unbelievable what he's pulling off. Yes, only 10 and 7, but some of the kills that he's netted, the aces, you name it. Absolutely magic. A miracle, you might go to say. I'll guarantee you can most definitely make a whole pun sentence or two out of all of that team's names. I look at them all, and I'm already thinking about, like, oh, he blows him skies high or something like that. There's all kinds of things you can draw out. They're so beautifully named. I appreciate that.
It certainly seems like they've done it with us in mind, Des, and I'm sure that that wasn't the case. But yeah, names like Miracle.
But if the boot fits.
You know, if the boot fits, we'll use it. You better believe it. On gold, looking to push himself in from the red stairs window there. Fantasy's still in place in Pixel Spot. Attacking onto the top floor. Let's not forget, it is a bar and cocktail site here. They need to move Fantasy out of Pixel Spot. He's still playing in behind that Vulcan shield. He's just dipping himself in and out of the washroom as well. And they need to clean him out. They can't have him staying in that position because he's going to make it very difficult for them to get full control over Piano. And with only 54 seconds left to go, Spacestation need to get moving in that direction if that is the aim.
He's tucked in so tight.
Lender's
so much utility.
Himself a little bit there.
Maybe a little bit, but they've got so much control still. They've still got glow shields, they've still got ADSs, they've got everything. Fultz looking to still have his head on his shoulders at this point, down to about 30 HP. They need to unsettle Fultz, who's playing on Pixel. They've got Lender there for backup. Rare taken down. Fantasy strikes onto one, brings down Hot and Cold, finds himself a third. What is with this Wonder Kid? Finds himself a 4K in the round. Is he on for a second? Oh, Fultz finds him, but it's a 1 versus 2 with 15 seconds to play with. Surely you can't find Lender and Miracle, Fultz. Surely not. Final 10 seconds coming in. Miracle tucking in tight. Lender as well. The patience of a saint on both of these boys. They swing around. Lender finds it.
No. The thing is, I've said this all along. As I always say with casting, I'm just excited generally for whoever's winning. I want to see people come back. I'd love to see Spacestation bring this now back to overtime. You know, that all I want is an exciting game. But I can understand why so many neutral fans gravitate towards FURIA, because they are just exciting and fun to watch. They don't care who they're playing. They don't care that it's Spacestation Gaming. They don't care that they're up against Empire. They don't care whether they should win or not. They just come out and play their game, and it's fun to watch. It's a fun brand of Siege.
It's very, very entertaining from start to finish. And part of it's the enjoyment you find in the game. Part of it is just the sheer quality of play that we're seeing coming out time and time again. Here we go then. FURIA potentially going into their last defensive round. Unless SSG can elongate this game even further, it's going to be another defense of the downstairs. They're setting up here on the top floor, looking to deny SSG the chance of a full clear. I spoke earlier on about SSG. They will rush. They can find ways and angles to really abuse the weakness in a team setup. So don't count them out just yet. You just don't know what to expect. You might just see rapid aggression coming out in the mid-round that FURIA simply aren't ready for.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, SSG looked so good in the first 4 rounds. They really did lock down some solid defenses, got plenty of kills. I mean, we've had an ace out of Fultz. They've had a good game, but they've just struggled over the back end of this. 4 rounds out of 5 going towards FURIA, and Spacestation have just looked muted. You know, whatever they've tried to do, FURIA have just seemed to be able to absorb it.
scariest thing is, and I know we try and say we're not region biased, we're EU casters, right? We're based in the EU, we do EUL, we go back north. It's scary to think, even being as neutral as possible, that for NA this could be 0-4 for NA teams after 4.
The thing is that nobody wants to, I want to
see it competitive. I want to see all 4 teams.
This is what we always say. I want games that are going to 15 rounds. I want competition. I want, I want a semi-finals where you've got one team from each region and everybody's weighing in there. That is what we want. And NA just really struggling on these international stages, and that's not going to make things any easier, Des, as Lender just goes headlong out of the window and takes Bosco down hot and cold. Manages to win a great fight on the reverse though. Hits the headshot onto Lender, and that is Spacestation Gaming with the advantage that they need. 4 versus 3.
That's one of those things I look at and think from FURIA. Super smart, got rare on the Valkyrie, covering for the drop, just didn't quite connect his shots, whereas hot and cold, whilst dropping, did connect. One of those ones that you look at and say, nice try / nice idea, but execution on the day, unfortunately, not going in FURIA's favor. For SSG, 4 versus 3. They still have this numbers advantage. They've got the vertical control they need, and I imagine you might see a red stairs push coming through.
Certainly looks like it could be the case. Miracle going to be forced out of train for the time being, but he's got lines of sight that's going to allow him to contest from elsewhere. Just keeps his eye on that upstairs. He might just get one, Des. No! Spacestation Gaming just managed to get away with that hot and cold, nearly losing his life to the man, and that would have been a big pickup for FURIA at this point. 40 seconds left to go. The utility is going to start raining into sight. Hot and cold still opening up those vertical angles, and Spacestation, they feel like they're well poised, ready to make that final push into sight now.
It just makes me nervous. That's the things, when things look like they're going to be okay, it's often when they turn out not to be. I say that, hot and cold goes, don't worry, Des. I got you covered. A 3K in the round, a flash in onto highs. This surely is the time, as you say, for SSG to make a push happen. Fultz finding highs, rare. Oh, they got him on the peak there as well. Fultz shuts him out. SSG are still fighting in. One more round, and we get that overtime we so sorely want to see.
There we go, SSG. That is what we need, and now they've just got to take that. They've just got to feed off that energy, Des. Get themselves into round 12. Get a win on the board. Hot and Cold's come out and had a great round there. That was a particularly important kill that he picked up.
Absolutely.
Lender. It was really, really nice headshot, and just being able to hit that whilst being challenged by Rare, absolute beauty from Hot and Cold that we've seen throughout stage 3, to be fair. So we're coming in to round number 12 now. We have gone the distance in regulation. It's going to be down to Kitchen for FURIA to try and close this one out. You look at the teams in the world who can overcome that, who can fight back from those 2 match points down, and you know that Spacestation Gaming are one of them. I'd love to see them pick up this round and just get us 3 more of this.
I'd take 3 more. I'd take 10 more. Just throw us some again. I want a best of 3 of it at some point. It'd be the dream, but we may have to wait until semis or the grand finals for that one to be the case, because, of course, even if these teams finish first and second in the group, they won't face each other in the quarterfinals. They will be matched up against teams from different groups. Time will tell. Let's see how the setup on the downstairs goes in for FURIA. Still looking in towards a very similar setup. No Valkyrie being brought along, which feels like a bit of a rarity on this map today. A look on the side of SSG. My God, are they doubling down on trying to deal with the madness of FURIA. The Jackal, the Nomad coming in. I imagine, in fact, I'm a liar. I thought you might have seen the Claymore coming out, but it's not there for Fultz. It's one of those I just look at and just think, you can tell they're nervous and they're trying to control FURIA, but it's so hard to do that.
It is, and this is, as I've said, FURIA, when they are confident, they'll move around, ultra mobile, players like Fantasy, difficult to pin down and will make your life a misery. Now then, for the time being, Fantasy is going to be playing in behind that bakery counter. If he stays there, that may well be a positive for Spacestation Gaming, because they don't need to worry about where he is. They know exactly where he is. Moving him, that might be a bit of a different matter, but they can worry about that a little bit later on. Hot and Cold on the Jackal, looking to get himself into the top floor. Just having a look, see if he can scan out any footprints. For the time being, he won't be seeing anything up on the top floor.
Absolutely. It's good to get the full clear done, just in case there is someone lurking in a corner, because that could be the sort of thing that ends your round. We've seen that several times in games today. The players just hiding in corners, netting a kill or 2. Think about Gig hiding in lone office on Bank earlier on, for example. Didn't quite go on to win the round, but did cause a bit of an upset for a few seconds, and it's a similar story here. FURIA, though, are indeed all downstairs, slowly forced away by this Jackal. What I'll give to SSG is inside the first 75 seconds, the full clear coming through. They've not yet lost a single drone.
Rampage just dropping through to the mid floor then. Spacestation Gaming making really good progress here, Des. We often say 1 minute 30 to get the verticals started into Kitchen. They were about 20 seconds ahead of that. So Spacestation moving confidently, and that's what we want to see. Right now they need to back it up with an opening kill. Need to start getting themselves the advantage. They've also got that clash to deal with of Lender. We know how much time that shield can burn if allowed to. So that's something that they definitely need to focus on. Could be a job for Fultz to get in there with that Zofia utility and just assist in moving that clash along.
Similar setup to before as well, where they're looking for this full east side take. Last time round it was a trade required to get control of VIP. With that freezer hatch opened up, the floor being controlled from above, you can see what the intent is going to be. Now that they're in a spot where everyone is back on site, it's now a bit of information gathering for them. I like that Lender's actually playing here on the Clash as well, because he can do some work to keep them out of restaurant. It's not going to stop Fultz pushing his way into white and finding one. Rampy a second on to Lender. Lender's a hound will you, he says, a 5 versus 3. Surely SSG career us into overtime with an advantage like this, Ace.
It's certainly looking that way. SSG have definitely woken up in the last couple of rounds, Des, and that was a great push from them at the bottom of white stairs, also taking out the Clash. Fantasy, however, manages to find Skies and drops the diffuser. That could be big. 25 seconds left to go. Spacestation, they need to get in there.
C4 over the top. He's in such a great spot here to deny this away if they need him to, but he's so wary of what's going on down white, and for good reason. We're in the final 10 seconds or so. Highs on the Echo. Surely, surely not. Surely it doesn't play out this way. They've got to push the Echo, but he's got back on his drone. It's not going to be enough, and SSG, they send us into overtime. 3 more rounds of madness, and I'm here for it.
This is exactly what we wanted to see. More Spacestation Gaming versus FURIA going to overtime once again, and what a great round from SSG. FURIA looked scared, if I'm honest, in that round. As Fantasy didn't know what to do with himself at that double door, and he just found himself taken down so easily, and then it all came down to that last man. And SSG, they felt like they were just all over them, Des. Everywhere FURIA turned, there was somebody from Spacestation to challenge them, and that is what you love to see. They just smothered them.
Just a little bit. My God, I can't believe we get another 3 rounds, and you can look towards Fultz and Hot and Cold and Fantasy, who could very well be on their way towards 20 kills if the madness of this game continues. What a first game it would be for any of those players to have that level of performance, but I think most players in the server here can take a bow as to how this has played out. What a game it has proven to be. Bar and cocktail, we now turn around to settle on for the first defense of FURIA in overtime. We've just seen a good number of defenses coming out from them. SSG in the last couple at least managed to rally themselves back around. Who knows what can happen in overtime, especially knowing that you're given the full selection of all 4 sites. There is no predictability on SSG's side. They're just going to go with what's presented before them. Thank you very much for that, Highs. I now have a headache.
Worth noting as well that both halves have been 3-3, so there is no real advantage to be found here in the defense or the attack. Neither have seen any sort of benefit so far. Both teams probably happy to just continue on what they've been doing previously. You could maybe edge it towards SSG because they've just won 2 attacking rounds, so they can continue with that same momentum, but in the same breath, FURIA, they've been able to go back to their last successful side. So revert back to the last safe version, if you will.
That's definitely one way of looking at it. At least for SSG, it's a very safe, standard starting point for them as well. Not looking to go too crazy, not crouching up any stairways. Instead, all their attention's turned towards getting control of Piano to kick things off. Bosco, oh my word, has he got away with that? That's a massive kill because now there's only the 1 window player left and they can't challenge him on the cross. Fantasy could give them an absolute headache, but was being shot through the hatch, and Fultz from the near window will find the kill. But still a great opener to find onto the Nomad.
Fultz has done amazing work for Spacestation today. So many important kills, and Ace, he really has been a big player for them. In go the nades, just to try and clear out some utility, get that deployable shield. 4 versus 4, 1 minute 40 left to go, and SSG, different to last time, they need to make sure they get control of Piano if that's what they're going for. That was the big struggle for them last time. They were just unable to get in there. Now, Fultz, instead of using that breaching charge, I think he was looking to possibly just bait out a little bit more presence on that window there. He's going to take out the laser gate as well. Look to move in towards Cocktail Balcony. I like that. They've dropped. They've forgotten about Piano. They couldn't get it last time. They've not worried about it this time. Space Station are in sight, Des. The kills are starting to rain, but they're going in both directions. 3 versus 3. 1 minute 10 left to go, but we're not going to see that long. It's going to be a quick one from here on out. I would expect the plant is going down from skies.
Tucked right inside the corner as well. FURIA won't be able to stop this one. A 3 versus 3 in a post plant. It's like a bit of a micro mini game within Siege itself. Lender on the move. That barbed wire doing all the work he needs with the sound. 3 versus 2. Rare, no idea. Sky is finding him out at the very least. A 2 versus 2. One's gone down. Fultz has got the roof, but they've got to be able to stop him. It's a 1 versus 1. Miracle can just play the bait game. He hasn't got to worry here. Does he have any idea where he is? I'm not too sure he knows what's going on. Still looking for the diffuser at this point. Knows the man is upstairs, but the long angle is there. He's got to take the direct challenge here, but I don't think he really knows what angle to press from. Oh no, 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 don't reinforce! Defuse it! Surely can see him, sprays through the wall and gets to shut down. We've seen that one before from Empire. I recall a long, long time ago, but fortunately, Fultz, with the presence of mind, puts SSG up to match points.
In that round, I said how important Fultz had been for Space Station today, and once again he proves it. As soon as that plant goes down, Des, he does everything he can to get himself onto that skylight and hold it down. Wins the 1v2. That type of play, Des, is one of my absolute favourites. When people ask me for an example of why Siege is so good, I always bring up the one that you referenced, Empire at Raleigh, where it was done successfully. I cannot think of another game in the world where you can have that sort of heads-up play to shotgun blast a soft wall to gain access to your target, to be able to defuse it. It just sums up Siege for me and why it is such a beautiful game. Now then, SSG have got themselves a match point, Des, and the NA fans, they might just be able to rest easy after this one.
Might. We'll put a big might on that one, because I wouldn't go counting FURIA out just yet. They're more than capable of their own plays just like that. And it feels like one of those that deserves a solid 15 rounds to get us all the way through to the bitter end. SSG back to the old-fashioned, good old faithful Mozzie combo to deny away as much info as they can, whilst holding on to things like the Valkyrie to give themselves as much in the process. Highs is back on the IQ. It's been the safety pick for FURIA on their attacking half. Back in the first 6 rounds, they brought it 2 or 3 times. And I think in one of those rounds, even caught out back when there was both Yokais and the Black Eyes being brought along by the Echo and the Valkyrie, respectively. So again, safe play for FURIA are respected at the very least.
Going to be attacking onto Kitchen here. If we have a look back to the first half of the game, we saw Kitchen twice, round 1 and round 5. Both wins for Space Station. There's 100% on this site so far today, 2 for 2, and you would expect them surely to be able to lock this one out again. Now then, the drones are raining in for FURIA. They know that they're going to have to go for a top-down clearance. They need to be able to get that mid-floor and get those vertical angles, but Space Station, they are playing a broad game here. They've got Fultz and Hot and Cold both on the roam.
They have. It's what work they can do in the early round, I feel, to be disruptive. We've seen FURIA do that a couple of times. Look back at the previous round with Fantasy being right at Piano window to greet them on their rappel up. There's no one quite on the side of SSG to do just that. In fact, a much more passive game coming out from them. But this is where you imagine they can get a bit of a thorn in the side if they're not too careful. There is still this full map clear work to do because SSG, compared to prior rounds, have pushed their way up a little bit more and looking to be a tad more aggressive in their defense.
Hot and Cold Nitro in hand. Just going to pop it back in pocket once again. Not going to deploy it. Highs. Gets Fultz.
No way.
Gets Hot and Cold. There's FURIA are doing it. They're fighting all the way back to 15 here. Rare. He knows that there's a man in train. He's got the red ping. He's just waiting for Rampy to move here. If he pushes too far forward, he's going to lose his life. Now, Space Station Gaming not getting over aggressive here. Just trying to play the angles, trying to find themselves anything they can. Rampy just bullied around the site there and shut down. Skies manages to find one, but Fantasy onto Bosco, 4 versus 1. This is going all the way.
There's only one way it could have gone. We said it was 3 and 2, that we'd love to see the 15 rounds, and my God, is it delivering. It's stepping all the way up And High's doing whatever he can, removing Black Eyes, killing whatever he might find. It just doesn't matter because they know that this is fully in their control and Skies can only do so much. A 1 versus 4 and 50 seconds to play. You are going to have to see one of the best siege clutches we will ever see if this game were to end here and now. FURIA in through Bakery. One holding down on red. They've got the angles they need. They want to step inside and find themselves the plant. Doesn't see one, as there isn't the rotation open on the right side of the wall. Skies somehow has got his way in towards prep here. Will find himself one. That's the diffuser down. The 1 versus 3 is still in play, mind you, and needs to find another. Knows there is one close, finds another one on the other side of the half wall. Surely gets himself taken out here. Flash through, shut down by Fantasy. We're living in a fantasy. It's a dream to see this go through to 15 rounds. The nerves on both sides are palpable. Who walks away the winner race?
This is a matchup that just keeps delivering, Des. You want to know who the winner is? Would it be day one of a major without me saying that the winner is everybody at home, Des? It's us, it's the viewers, it's anybody that is enjoying this matchup, because this is just absolute peak entertainment for me right now. Spacestation Gaming 7, FURIA 7, both of these teams deserve to win this game. Only one can.
We've now seen the last 2 times these teams have played, of a possible 30 rounds, we have seen all 30. And look at the scores up and down the board. Yeah, 15, 16, 17. It's madness. Absolute madness. And I really can't tell which way this round's going to go. Do we get SSG pulling some out of the bag in the dire moments with a heroic push and rush that shuts down the side of FURIA? We saw them do it, if you remember, last time round, pushing in here. The reading door was stormed by 3 players after a bunch of flashbangs got yeeted over the reading wall. And FURIA were left aghast. No idea what to respond. The smallest of mistakes could cost the game for either team, and although they neither walk away empty-handed, they will walk away with at least 1 point each, 2 points for the winner, 1 for the loser. You don't want to be a person who sat here after a 15-round slog, only walking away with 1 round.
It's going to be a big mental blow for whoever loses. That's, you know, there's no 2 ways about it. Of course, both teams will pick up some points as far as the league table goes. We are in overtime, so in normal regulation time, inside of 12 rounds, a win is 3 points and a loss is nothing. Here in overtime, a win is 2 points and the loser will still pick up a point. So both teams will deservedly walk away with something here, but even 1 point in this group particularly, Des, in Group D, could be crucial. This group is Spacestation, Empire, FURIA and Damwonkia. It is a ridiculously stacked group. It is going to be a close finish, and 1 point could be the difference between making it to playoffs or going home.
That's exactly it. And we'll check as well what's going on over on the B stream for you shortly, but hey, we've got a final round to finish off just here. First and foremost, it feels like, at least for SSG, it's that slow, calculating start. All drones still on side, finding out where these members of FURIA may just be lurking, and the answer is seemingly everywhere. Even though they're not defending this top floor, they have got a couple of members holding up here, I believe 1 on Pixel, 1 inside of storage, and 1 holding up in towards Cocktail. They will back away eventually down and towards Reading and Fireplace. So for SSG, the timeliness of clearing this top floor is pivotal.
Yeah, and you know, that's quite normal from FURIA, that they wouldn't want to hold on too tightly to top floor. They don't want to throw lives away on it, they just want to hold on to it for as long as possible. Now then, we see Utility trying to be cleared. Lender, by the looks of things, playing in behind that Vulcan shield inside Freezer, it looks like he's going to be the one that will absolutely stick here for as long as possible. Fultz, he's going to take a little bit of damage. The Lender actually dips away, gets himself back down the hatch. Highs follows halfway through the round, and that is now top floor control for SSG. FURIA, they look desperate to try and push back up these white stairs, but if they do, they're going to start losing lives.
As you say, that top floor control is established, and they're thinking about the white window rappel, I think, as well, just to make sure no one can come pushing back up. Just watching for any crazy jump outs, but now that is surely clear, they can start thinking about the downstairs. No one yet going down. 2 minutes have been elapsed in trying to get this vertical control. A rat on the downstairs, lucky to walk away and scurry away into the final 60 seconds, still alive. And for FURIA, they've got to hold on against this onslaught coming in from SSG. No one yet going down, and no C4s on side for FURIA to be able to kill anyone on the top floor. This is going to be madness come the execution time.
Can't handle this, Des. Lender manages to find Fultz, who's completely unaware of the man on white. Advantage FURIA, but you just feel like it won't be for long. Rare, he finds Skies. FURIA, they look like they're doing this, Des. They look like the team that have been able to make that final push. Rampy shut down on the reverse. Hot and Cold finds Lender, but it's 4 versus versus 1 as Miracle comes in onto Bosco and Rare finishes it off. Once again, FURIA have been able to find an overtime win against Spacestation Gaming at a major event. What a performance from the LATAM team to kick off Group D, and that has just thrown it all into disarray.
Every single prediction